Okay, part 2. I've since vacuumed the living room. Yay! Made myself some coffee. Yay! Alright. Anyway, first, one of the biggest problems is probably the fact that I don't speak or read German, therefore I've got to read this guy William Lovett. Nothing personal, William. I just, translations are translations. So, some of it's kind of blurble. Is that a word? Blurble. If it's not a word, it's not a word. But I still got some stuff from it. And actually, speaking to the blurble, I want to go back to, it's towards the end of it. He goes, "An education and thinking in the midst of the sciences is part of a preparatory thinking and its fulfillment. To find the suitable form for this so that such education and thinking does not fall victim to a confusion with research and erudition is the hard thing." And it's obviously hard for Heidegger as well. So that education and thinking does not fall victim to a confusion with research and erudition, never pronounced that right, is the hard thing. So yes, he too finds it hard. And I don't mean that, negatively. I just mean, sometimes it's hard to explain your subjective truth that you're trying to explain, and usually metaphysics is just poetry. But then going back to some earlier stuff, for the reflection we are attempting here is a question of preparing for a simple and inconspicuous step in thought. What matters to preparatory thinking is to light up that space within which being itself might again be able to take man, with respect to his essence, into a primal relationship. To be preparatory is the essence of such thinking. So it's that getting yourself ready for thinking. I find interesting because, I am supposed to or try to go out and walk about 3 miles every morning. I haven't been doing very well this week, but to get me ready for the day, to get my head clear and, focus on the good stuff instead of like all jarbled up in my head. Blurble, I guess. Don't be blurble, go walk 3 miles. But, so I like that because it's being is something outside of you and a part of you. So how do you get to it? Well, you gotta prepare for it. And you gotta put your mind, you actually have to consciously try to do it. I mean, I guess some people do yoga and some people get on a bike for 3 miles and other people, get in a group and sing songs and whatever. But I like the idea. Then he goes into sharing and thinking proves to be an unobtrusive sowing, a sowing that cannot be authenticated through the prestige or utility attaching to it, by sowers who may perhaps never see blade and fruit and may never know a harvest. So basically some scientists and some researchers and philosophers and, they're in this giant blurble, there it is again, and they're trying to figure out something real and something explanatory, 9.8 meters per second squared. It's real, believe in it. But now I have to find my place again. But you're on this path, and so you can't really see the end final summation of it, and so sometimes you're just floundering about, and it takes somebody else to take what you've said and done and move on with it into something more coherent that explains things for the rest of us. So the sacrifice lives on. Keep plugging away, I guess, is the point. I still have yet to get back. I need to stop dropping my book. But yeah, so the sowers may perhaps never see blade and fruit and may never know a harvest. So it's kind of like keep the faith, and that doesn't, having failed to answer what you tried to answer doesn't necessarily mean you failed. So cool, I like that. And then finally, let me go. It is matter first of having a presentiment of finding and then cultivating that field. It is a matter of taking a first walk to that field. Many are the ways still unknown that lead there, yet always to each thinker there is assigned but one way, his own, upon whose traces he must again and again go back and forth, that finally he may hold to it as the one that is his own, although it never belongs to him, and may tell what can be experienced on that one. So we actually have to, it's a path. Learning is a path, the journey is a path, which is just a poetic way of saying, I guess your brain processes things and learns things that it can't explain subjectively to other people, or even itself at times. So sometimes two different people may disagree, but it's purely one has certain strengths of understanding, another has certain strengths of understanding. And they just have problems communicating it, not that either of them is more right and wrong. But, it all boils back to, you go back to yourself again and again and again, and what your own experience is. And that's kind of what, we're doing here. So I like that segment because it kind of talks about, appreciating your teachers, and even though they're not always necessarily teachers, and appreciating the things you're learning from the world and all the other animals and entities and things and experiences in it, and that's kind of cool. So I gotta go on and read that section, but I just thought I'd show you, tell you, do something. Alright, cheers.